Welcome to Breakfast Central. It's been a sad weekend. It was a dark weekend for Nigeria. Yet again, because of the killings that did take place in the northern region once again. Everyone is talking about it. I think the most painful one is a mother who was killed with 6 of her children. One of the sons was even thrown into the well. It's sad that we're starting the show this way, but these are the things that you need to know when you wake up in the morning. And when you say thank God, you say your prayers, your morning prayers, you should remember that some people are not opportune to kneel down and say their morning prayers because a fellow human decided that, listen, they're going to play God and take their lives away from them. And so far, so the government hasn't even put out a clear statement on that. So everyone is still expecting that they will do the needful. Aside from that, there are other stories as well that we're looking into. The Morocco issue has elicited a lot of conversations. Yesterday, the president was signing the Lagos State fiscal allocation, the budget into law, 4.4 trillion naira. And in the process, he had to talk about the Morocco issue. And he said, listen, that in other words, he was blaming the NGOs that they're trying to profit from the Morocco incidents. No. And then he talked about how they had spoken to the Morocco residents for over, I think he said about 2 years or so, including the chieftains, the ballets, and the likes. But the sad story is people did die. That's what we heard. And reporters, our own reporter was also there, Niyo Moni. And hopefully we would be bringing to you a report as well concerning that. 10 persons we do here died, including a baby who also died as a result of the wake of trying to ensure that they clear people out of that area. Is there a provision for them? We do not know. But sadly, I can say one day, if we all agree on Breakfast Central, we need to dedicate 1 hour, and I'm going to use this medium to also speak to the MD CEO. Let's have a town hall on the housing deficit in Lagos. Absolutely. It is a major chaos that is waiting to blow up.
And the drive for luxury housing, housing that is not all-inclusive. Nobody's even building, and LSDPC too, the Lagos State. How many houses are they building? I mean, looking at the housing deficit we have and how much of it is affordable to even the workers of Lagos State. So these are conversations that we need to have.
When Lagosians start to reminisce, and in reminiscing, they start to sing old musical tunes of a particular name, otherwise known as Jakonde. Jakonde. And then they go as far as singing Marwa, Marwa. Then you should know that the governments that succeeded these names have done one thing. Either they failed woefully or they've not lived up to
the interesting thing about Jakonde is it did all of this in less than 5 years.
That's it. Yes.
Right. I mean, the housing deficit is really a challenge that we need to tackle head on, because, like Gbenga said, we're not building inclusive housing. Those who are in the upper echelon of society are the ones that are able to afford some of the relatively decent houses. And even at that, they're complaining terribly. What should have been the middle class is complaining bitterly. So I shudder to imagine what those in the lower class are having to endure, all because they do not have access to decent housing. I mean, look at this. It's unimaginable to think that a city like Lagos will have some of its residents living in areas with such deplorable living conditions. The Constitution does provide the right to dignity of human persons. However, the houses in which some of these residents have to live in takes away that right, because it looks nothing like dignity. It's not dignifying in any way for them to live in these kind of houses. At the very least, we expect that government involves itself and invests in housing to make it affordable for citizens. And when we're talking of citizens, we're not talking about those who have connection in government or who, when they decide to sell properties, will use their influence to get their relatives to buy these properties at affordable pricing. We're talking about those who actually cannot afford it and those who actually need it. It's a terrible thing, and we unfortunately are making Nigerian citizens internally displaced persons.
Oh yeah,
not
even
by
in your
virtue
country.
of earthquake, not by virtue of natural disasters,
governance,
but because we do not have policies that protect the quality of lives the Nigerians have to live, and that's a shame.
And policies that are all inclusive.
Yeah.
Because what the policies we have are just favoring a few.
Yeah.
I mean, how many you hear when you hear things like the 1% or the 1% living Banana Island? Okay, that's fine. Where does the 9% or 99%,
the majority of
99%, where do they live? Go and check where they live.
And one of the reasons why they did this is because, you know, a lot of tourists have been coming there, and the government sees this as an embarrassment that why are you showing this part of Nigeria? But it's there. I mean, if you don't like it, do something about the quality of life there. So the government has successfully.
And we must not look down on the people who live in Makoko. Makoko has produced so many influential people who have taken what looks like lemons and made lemonade out of them. Some of them have been, against all odds, been able to go to school and make decent careers, you know, of themselves. So we cannot look down on these people. They're humans. They deserve a decent quality of life and not to be thrown into the wind and made internally displaced persons. We'll continue to follow up with the housing situation. I mean, we're away from Makoko, even those in the middle class.
I was about going there.
Just yesterday, somebody was saying they increased their rents by 100%. How do they increase rents by 100%?
When your salaries aren't being increased by 100%, how do you just make such a unilateral decision? And how do we then ensure that, because I was speaking with a friend in Canada, and she was saying that her landlord had increased her rent arbitrarily by 15%, no, I think 20%. And then she wrote to him because there were laws guiding that saying you cannot increase by 20%, and wrote to him. I think he was only allowed to increase by either 5 or 15%, I'm not sure. And then he reversed it because there was a law guiding how much you can increase. And she knew
her
rights.
So what sort of provisions do we have in Nigeria in our tenancy laws for tenants? The tenancy law as is in Lagos State to an extent strives to protect the tenant, but is it enough?
Has it been enacted? Has it been put into law?
Oh yes. So there is a law
because I know they were reviewing it. They said
so there's a law that already exists. The problem is that the law as it is a far cry from implementation. For example, tenancy law of Lagos State forbids certain parts of Lagos State, most actually of Lagos State, for asking for 2 years rent. There were exceptions in few areas, but it was a norm at some point where people would typically ask for 2 years rent, where they would ask for agency to the tune of 10%, agency legal 10%.
10%.
And if you ask, even this legal, they don't even give documents.
Yeah, because of the housing deficit, the huge deficit, people are desperate. So
if you don't take it,
the compliance, exactly. If you don't take it, somebody else will take it. And I mean, the landlord's prerogative at the end of the day to decide who he wants to rent his house to.
Move on from the housing issues. But if you're streaming live with us on YouTube, you can tell us via the comment section what housing is like, what your experience is in getting houses in Lagos, either as a landlord or as a tenant. What
even in Abuja as well.
With housing is in Nigeria, wherever you are.
Generally.
Please drop a comment and I'll be taking the comments. But let's talk about the recent win that has showed a high level of lack of sportsmanship and team spirit. And I'm talking about the AFCON champions here, Senegal. Senegal beat Morocco 1-0 to win the AFCON 2025. However, Morocco didn't seem to take this very politely. Now, Senegal was criticized for storming out of the game at some point during the games. However, you can't also ignore the many forces that Senegal had to fight, from Hakimi taking the towel of the goalkeeper, of the Senegalese goalkeeper, tossing it behind. I don't know if we have
to
that.
The ball boy is there.
Yes, he tossed.
Okay.
Yes, he threw the towel to the ball boy.
And this was
Nigerians too, facing
they
the same
threw a
thing.
banana at him. He threw the banana. He ate the banana and then thanked the Moroccans.
And
so
you understand that there is
that's the reserve goalkeeper.
That's the reserve goalkeeper holding the towel.
Diouf for Senegal.
Look at
that's
him.
Hakimi.
He throws it behind and then he runs after, he picks up his towel.
Like behaviour.
And why this is such a terrible thing is you think it's not just a towel. It's very, very shady. It was raining, I believe. Their hands are slippery. And even why do you feel the need to do that?
And this is a man that has played at the highest level in PSG.
Yes,
all goalkeepers
champion.
around the world have towels because to dry their hands and they can have grip.
I mean, this is somebody that has been an African player
beyond the game, the nation of Morocco, their behavior yesterday, they were very hostile
was abysmal
to travelers. I mean, they were singling out Senegalese, they were cancelling tickets, they were just being very unruly.
Now, reports have it that the airport turned off the Wi-Fi,
yes.
and that they would ask people clearly, are you Senegalese? That they always had, even some Nigerians recounted on X, how they had to double identify themselves to let them know that they're not Senegalese. And so what if
And what if you're Senegalese?
So if you've been waiting to win AFCON for the past 50 years and you missed your shot, so what?
Player.
You came close. You got to the second place. You came close enough to win the AFCON. And if you didn't win the AFCON, there's always another chance. But with this kind of character, what this tells us is that there is no spirit of sportsmanship, and CAF has been silent about this, or CAF has not acted in a disciplinary measure. By the time countries know that when they act in a certain manner, that there is thorough disciplinary measure that will be instigated or instituted against them, and they put strong punitive measures, you ensure that you ban them from hosting for another 50 years. You will see that people will sit up and not act in certain ways.
It's sad, but anyway, the update simply is that the FIFA president did put out a tweet condemning the Senegalese Senegalese players.
No, he didn't even mention a single thing about Morocco's conduct.
I just heard what you said.
Yeah, Gianni Infantino, FIFA president, condemning the Senegalese team for having left the spirit of sportsmanship, how they lacked that. He also went as far as talking about the inappropriate manner in which they behaved. Now, in all of that message he put out there, there was no single one, just as Gbenga has also highlighted, that spoke to the Moroccans for their bad behavior. And this is one thing that everyone should condemn. Aside that, yesterday, the Senegalese coach has been suspended indefinitely. Yes. They said how many years, not mentioned, but CAF has gone ahead to suspend him, especially for
as a result of the fact that
he told the team to walk out, to leave the pitch, and everyone should leave the pitch. I mean, listen, there are times when you see, I think we can stand
up to injustice.
Yes, that's what I'm going to. And this should be a lesson, because we're seeing a ripple effect of certain actions taking place in different parts of the world. And that is as a result of injustice. I keep saying it.
Asking them to come back to
told them to come back.
He was very applauded as well for this action.
When it comes to actions, I was looking at this game yesterday and I said, what are the 5 things that even politicians can learn from this game? You know, this pretty much looked like I can liken this to an election period, where you might want to find your way around it. You know, when it comes to elections or politics, you play dirty, trying to take the towels, box snatching, you get what I'm saying, trying to, come surround the referee, intimidate him. The fans, I mean, the Senegalese supporters were not even up to 70,000 compared to the number of the Moroccans.
Probably 5%.
Just 2,000 plus, almost not up to 3,000 that were there. And then you had over 70,000 of the crowd. And then there were people who were even seated next to the Moroccan supporters who were black. Videos are out there, they're on X. They told them to stand up and leave and get out, that they cannot sit there, that they're monkeys.
And you know what is sad is when we talk about our continent, when we talk about Africa, the influence that we have, the wealth that we have, and the fact that we need to unite as one. You know, the question is, does North Africa see themselves as part of us, right? If you look, I just did a random Google search, and I Googled Senegal, Morocco. First article I saw was a BBC article, and look at the headline. AFCON final, Senegal temporarily leave field after Morocco awarded controversial penalty. That was the first one. Second one I saw, Al Jazeera. Senegal, Morocco play out an embarrassing AFCON 2025 final in Rabat. Then Sky Reports says, Africa Cup of Nations final, Senegal's shameful walk-off Mars victory over Morocco at Sadio Mane slam start.
So
look at the headline.
I mean, it's the Western media would always highlight the negatives and just highlight the negative results. So many brilliant things happen in AFCON. The talents that were discovered, the goals, the play, the entertainment value, and we shouldn't just focus on the sad incidents in the final, and that's what the mainstream media, Western media, seems to focus on. And talking about North Africans and seeing themselves as Africans, Morocco's case is particularly peculiar because Algeria fought a very serious war of independence. It was bloody with France for several years, and in the streets of Algiers yesterday, people were celebrating Senegal's win. against Morocco, and even in Egypt. But the
Yeah.
Moroccans seem to be very special. I remember Pan-African figures like Gamal Abdel Nasser and also Bembella of Algeria. But but Morocco has in the past applied twice to join the European Union. So they don't see themselves, they call themselves Maghrebs. They see themselves as Arabs or European sort of, and they don't see any connection with that.
Yeah,
and I think the African Union needs to, we're not begging anyone to be part of Africa. If you're geographically situated in Africa,
then
you don't like it, then
in Africa.
yeah, they should pave the way to.
Or maybe to add the sarcasm here, or maybe
Yeah.
ask Trump to come and claim.
Yes,
Since Trump is
Since he can claim anywhere
it's
around the
claiming
world
the
now.
and because they didn't give it to
Yeah.
him, he said, you know what, I'm no longer peaceful. I am going to be a man of war.
Yeah.
The reason I
He said, I'm not
highlighted-
obliged to be
Peaceful.
The reason I
It wasn't even
highlighted,
peaceful in the
you
first
know,
place.
how the Western media so far has interpreted what should have been a graceful match, what should have been a moment of champion and triumph for Senegal, and even a moment of triumph for Morocco as well, because second place is also a win. I mean, even if you don't come out first place, you got to the final.
But it's
you
their
know.
sportsmanship.
But it's unfortunate. It's because of how we have put ourselves. You know the way they say that you've given somebody a chance to be able to insult you in a way. We have been able to put our dirty linen in public.
No. Everybody has dirty linen. In the Euros, in competitions that they host in Europe and different parts of the world, you have hooliganism. You have serious hooliganism. English fans that are unruly, that are drinking, that are hooligans.
I remember in
go
France when they
around
were
shops,
setting everywhere
but
on
they're
fire.
not going to frame the World Cup as,
So,
you know, hooligan
Why I'm saying
World
this
Cup.
is we need to
and
do
that.
our own, and I'm glad that some of the Nigerian media, the African media, sorry, that I've seen, I've told the story the way the story
Yes,
should
they're
be.
that's
pushing
how it
back.
should be.
Senegal has emerged as champions of the AFCON, you know, the AFCON. And we need to do better, really.
You know,
Moroccans were doing monkey chants, eating
Yeah,
banana
yeah.
and dancing.
and
But you know
burning the
funny thing,
flags,
if
and burning
anybody
the
is doing a
Senegalese
monkey
flags.
chant, you are part of Africa, you are insulting yourself.
As in,
Exactly.
no, they say they are not African.
They are geographically
So
located.
I think bottom line is just to add, CAF
Look,
needs
that's
to
the video of
yes,
them,
of them, the monkey chanting
eating
the banana.
bananas.
Okay, no,
I
but
think
just to
this is-
confirm, someone
Morocco
said-
should never.
We cannot confirm this video because I saw this video on X and I saw the notes, the community notes where they said this wasn't the Moroccans actually, that it was the Algerians that were doing this to insult Morocco.
Olive,
I don't care which person did
Yeah.
it. It is wrong. It
That's
is
what we're
wrong,
going to,
and nobody
yeah.
should ever disrespect anybody like that. We're all one continent.
But what we can
And-
confirm is they threw a banana at Nwabali and he ate the banana and said thank you to them. During the Moroccan game
Gbenga, they
against
did all
Nigeria.
sorts. They
did all
burned the
sorts.
Senegalese flag. They did a whole lot. What we're trying to say now is, up until today, CAF has not released a statement. So we're hoping that CAF will release a statement. And we're also waiting.
Not just statement.
No, I'm
Statement
coming.
and
Yes,
action.
that's what
And
we're
action.
saying. And in the statement, CAF should clearly state that due to their actions, they would have to review future hosting rights
They shouldn't host a
to
game.
Morocco. And going forward, if Morocco feels that they are not Africans, then why are you competing in
Yes,
AFCON?
they should go compete
On
in
YouTube.
Morocco.
and
Yeah.
compete
In the comment section,
somewhere
Mopi
else.
Echukwemeka says CAF is compromised. The North
CAF is like
Africans
African
are
Union.
terrible.
CAF
when
is
it
like
comes to
African Union.
Sportsmanship and not condemning the Moroccans is biased at
You
the
see,
highest
Absolutely,
You see-
spot on.
You
Mopi
see,
Echukwemeka.
the truth is, until Africans start taking care of themselves internally, the world, even your neighbors. I want to use this analogy. If in your house, you're always fighting, you're making noise, you know what they call see finish. Your neighbors would not respect you. They'll be like, oh God, please go and sit down. You're always shouting, you're causing problem. But if you carry your carriage, if you take care
but
of yourself,
all
you
of it
handle your
comes
things.
from leadership.
That's
because
it.
the leaders inspire the people. People always talk about Lee Kuan Yew, but look at what's happening in Uganda, for example. I mean, the
son of the president saying he has killed opposition members and is waiting to kill one more to increase the numbers. And
with
guess
no
what?
consequences.
The African Union said
They've already said congratulatory messages.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
Museveni
former
for his
president
landslide
Goodluck
win.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Many have criticized him for having also, you know, how would you say
No.
that was?
Let's quickly head to X. Let's see what Nigerians are saying about
The problem
this. Then we'll
plenty.
come back to
Football mixed with
Football
politics.
mixed with politics.
And it's
On
geopolitics.
X, Femi Obaf says, they are scary scenes. Absolutely shocking coming from the Center of Excellence. No. This is This is regarding the
Makoko demolition.
Makoko. Gbenga, please. Please, let's go to the tweets about AFCON. Thank you. I'm not sure if this tweet is applicable.
Let's see. I think we have the Makoko tweet.
Let's check another tweet.
Let's see if we can get some other
more
AFCON tweets.
More AFCON tweets. But let's move on now.
But before you move on, Olive, I'm sorry to take us back to AFCON, back to Rabat. 2 journalists were killed. There are different headers that say they died.
Refereeing.
There's a header that says, mysterious death. And there's some headers that are trying to hinder or keep the story at bay. What happened to those journalists? Again, CAF has a lot of work to do. Not just CAF, but I'm expecting that the countries from where these journalists came from should be able to ask for an inquiry to be done, especially on the death of these journalists who spoke about the Moroccans and how they behaved, especially towards Nigeria versus Morocco match. And after that, all of a sudden, silence, and then you find them dead. In their hotel rooms.
I mean, what sort of coincidence is that?
I don't get it.
So a thorough investigation needs to be done, absolutely.
Anyway, let's move on to our next story very quickly. Olive, this one is what they call the coconut head.
Okay, but let's syndrome. Take reactions from what Nigerians are saying on the Moroccan incident.
The General Snow says, so Morocco is being very hostile to other African nationals, including Egyptians, by shifting and cancelling their flights and asking them to apply for refunds. Refunds they do not even know when they will be processed. They switched off the airport Wi-Fi and deployed military and police officers with guns drawn inside the airport. What kind of attitude is this? Who told them that hosting the tournament means they have already won it? Our people were even forced to present their Nigerian passports just to confirm they were not Senegalese.
Absolutely
disgraceful.
From Morocco.
CAF should cuckoo let the Maghreb have its own Cup of Nations open only to North Africans so that the rest of us can have our AFCON back.
I agree.
Burkina Faso hosted and didn't win, nothing happened. Nigeria and Ghana hosted and didn't win, nothing happened. Mali hosted and didn't win, nothing happened. Ghana hosted and didn't win. Angola hosted and didn't win. Ditto Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, South Africa, Cameroon, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda will host in 2027. They won't win. How did you know?
They won't.
How did you know?
My brother,
nobody will die.
Perfect.
But once a North African team hosts, they have to win it or else the sky will fall down. They should form their own confederation and let us hear what I beg. They need us much more than we need them anyway. Well, this is what we're talking about, and that's what we mentioned earlier on. They should just remain in Morocco, but Nigerian brothers will reciprocate if they come here. No, I don't think so. I don't think we would have time for all of that. We have a lot to deal with. Oduduwa's firstborn, oh really? Omo Bayo says, like, I don't even get it. If they thought it was voodoo, seeing a second keeper hold it for him and resist it from being stolen or confiscated should be proof that there's no hanky-panky. It's just a normal towel to clear sweat. Conduct of Morocco was really, okay, they said the towel was voodoo, so they had to keep carrying it. The person that carry white hand no swell up.
Or bend.
Sulaiman Samusidin says Morocco should never host any tournament after this, and they must be heavily punished.
Look, even Monopoly or Ludo tournament, they should not host.
Even Abula.
Okay. Let's move on from Morocco and Senegal to our next story. A diesel-laden tanker overturned in the early hours of Monday on the Tinkan-Liverpool Bridge in the Apapa area of Lagos, prompting a dangerous scramble as residents and passers-by scooped the inflammable product from beneath the bridge. Eyewitnesses said the accident happened during rush hour before traffic officials arrived, with viral videos circulating online, like the one you're seeing here, showing people collecting the spilled diesel in jerry cans and other containers. The Lagos State Traffic Management Authority said the bridge was immediately cordoned off while the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service neutralized the spill, adding that the road has since been reopened and traffic is easing as arrangements are made to tow the tanker away. The Lagos State government and the National Orientation Agency condemned the scooping of fuel, warning that the practice is life-threatening and must stop. The incident has revived memories of deadly past tragedies, including the October 2024 petrol tanker explosion on the Kano-Hadeja Expressway in Jigawa State that killed over 100 people who were attempting to scoop fuel, and another tanker explosion in October 2025 in Niger State that also claimed multiple lives. Let's play that video again. So we see, this is a tweet from last month, by the way, where they had said they probably thwarted the impending inferno following diesel tanker mishap on Liverpool Bridge, Mile 2 corridor, Apapa. And they basically let us know what the findings are. But let's share the video, and then we'll come back to take what Nigerians are saying about this. Let's play the video.
To arrive, leaving the scene largely uncontrolled, the dangers of diesel scooping, loss of lives. To arrive.
Very unfortunate scene there to see the diesel tanker exploding, overturned rather, and then people are scooping fuel, and it highlights a number of things. One, the fact that we don't hear word. It's not today we've been talking about how dangerous it is that when an accident happens, the first thing you're not thinking of is scooping products from the tanker, be it diesel, be it fuel. That's not the first thing to think of. But secondly, it highlights again an incredibly poor people. Poor not just in terms of resources, but poor in mindsets that you'd be willing to risk your life to scoop a bucket, 2 buckets of diesel to sell for how much? The level of desperation people will get to be able to scoop diesel, to sell and make ends meet. That is the poverty. Poverty of the body and the poverty of the mind. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll share what Nigerians are saying, but get your comments in the chat box on YouTube, and we'll take some more stories when we return. Please stay with us. Let's now bring you what Nigerians are saying regarding the unfortunate incident where we had an accident. The diesel tanker overturned, and Nigerians were rushing to scoop diesel as opposed to not potentially endangering their lives. And then when we come back, I'll get final thoughts from Gbenga and Joe. He said these are scary scenes, absolutely shocking, coming from the center of excellence, not one remote village. Those people there are potential barbecues. Arrest them all based on this CCTV. Sorry, none exist. Video evidence to serve as a deterrent, Femi Obaf says. Lagos is one place I can never ever reside in. Auntie, why now? I visited that place and I couldn't stay even for more days. The risk, the toxicity, the lifestyle is just something else. Imagine the risk these people are taking. See someone without a shirt on. His body is already mixed with fuel. What if a little spark from nowhere? How will they survive? This is sad, Emmy Gold says. The great survivors, the almighty resilience, the eternal endurance, the everlasting perseverance. People will never learn. Just one mistake here and everywhere would they smell as soon, he says. And Joy K says that is the level of, exactly, that is the level of poverty in Nigeria.
No, it's mental poverty. I don't
so
get
that's why I say it's
people
physical
everywhere
and
in the
mental.
world.
Chemilore says these people must have extra life at home. So that's what I was saying, Gbenga. It's physical poverty and it's mental poverty. When you get to the point where you say all
look at this woman. Look at, she came with her bucket.
I saw a video on social media recently. In China, goods truck was making a turn and it spilled its contents. He had drinks, and the people of the village gathered and cleared together. Number one, this is theft because that product doesn't even belong to you. Number two, you're risking your lives.
Inside there.
You're risking your lives. This is not about, okay, if you sell 2 jerry cans of diesel, how you will spend the money in less than 2 weeks. Is it going to keep you? Will it make you a billionaire? Will it keep you forever? And I need to thank the men of LASMA and the Lagos State Emergency Response Agency for the swift response in moving that truck out of that area and cordon off the area. This is this is highly commendable. And we also have to be the element of luck that diesel is not as flammable as PMS. If that was PMS, the
Otilo.
story would be different.
Otilo.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we're going to take on Wake Up Conversations. Nigerians, we do hope that we can learn from our previous or past mistakes. Although there's one question I want to leave us with. The federal government has said they were going to set up a committee to look into the incessant accidents of these, trucks and so on. Till today, that committee has gone into comatose. Nothing was heard. We wonder how many more committees are we expecting. Otilo too is gone. Let's take a look at our top stories this morning. This morning on Breakfast Central, gunmen abduct 177 worshippers in Kaduna. It happened over the weekend, and we have an update on that story as well. Federal government assigns less than 1% of budget to poverty, hunger in the land. FCT workers begin indefinite strike over unmet demands. How come? Where is the 001 of the FCT? Medical negligence in Nigeria is a conversation that has caused a lot of drama. And don't forget, we have the newspaper front pages. Stay with us. This is Breakfast Central.